Joining us today is Márcio Cyrillo, Head of Mobile Strategy at CI&T. Márcio, we have iOS, HTML5, native, lots of different platforms to develop solutions on. All that complexity creates some confusion for your clients. How do you guide them through that?
It's too many flavors. When you look at the technological landscape of mobile development, it's horrifying, because you can do native and really build extremely complex interactions with the users, leveraging all the capabilities of a specific device. But it's like time-consuming, money-consuming, because you cannot have the same team building for the iOS and Android. It's a different set of skills. And then you have, on the other side, HTML5, which is a very nice standard, and I believe will be the de facto standard for web. But you cannot leverage all the capabilities of the devices with that. And in the middle, you have like a handful of approaches, so-called hybrid approaches. But how to decide which one is better for me? So what we do is really, this is the last thing we'll talk about. Technology is the last thing. We need to start with the user. Let's really think about the context that they are inserted, what they need in terms of leveraging their smartphones to get things done, or to be fun, or connecting to your brand. And then let's move to your objectives and how those things tie together. After doing that, we look, okay, now we need to put together a strategy to make that app or set of apps or mobile websites that we're building for the consumers, having the business objectives in mind, what is the best way to roll out that strategy? Only that we'll talk about technology again. Because after doing all those things, you figure that maybe you had in mind that you wanted to build a native app, but it's not the right answer to all those things you discussed before. So technology for us, of course, we're paying attention to all the possibilities, but we don't make the decision right off the bat.
There is a common assumption out there that the traditional marketing agencies have an advantage over solutions providers or development teams like you folks at CI&T. Do you agree with that, or is that understanding beginning to shift?
Yeah, it makes sense, because as I said, you need to understand your audience and then build something that is meaningful for them in their context, right? This is the most important thing for mobile. So you could expect that agencies are better prepared because they've known their users for, since they started the engagement with their clients. But I think their challenge will be to build the whole thing. Because when we think about a mobile solution, we're thinking about an end-to-end engagement to come out with this product. So you really need, as I said, to discuss the user, the business objectives, all the rollout strategy, because when you build an app, you'll be lost in an ocean of other apps, how you make that emerge, how you collect metrics to understand that your users are really appreciating what you did. And then you talk about technology. So all those things together is a bigger challenge to the agencies, actually, because they are used to an outsourcing model where they go there, they enchant the users, they enchant the client, and they build that pixel perfect spec of what that product would be, but it's still not a live animal. So as soon as you put code there and you make that thing live, you figure out many things that you haven't thought about at the beginning of the process. Mm-hmm. So I think the real challenge is to make designers and developers work together, and we are in a better position to make that work because we know process like no other agencies. And if they keep doing that, outsourcing development, they are not achieving this most important thing of building something that is meaningful for the users and get information back and learn how to improve your product. It will be like a step-by-step process that end up maybe with something nice looking, but not maybe really functional.
One of the things we hear a lot about, I'm sure you do too, is this whole idea of innovation, and we're drowning in innovation. For you, what do you think truly qualifies as innovative in the mobile sector?
Yeah, innovation is really hard to predict. Who could predict that the iPhone would build a new market, right? Not even Apple knew that they would have the apps market. It came after they saw that people were jailbreaking the iPhones and building apps. Then they figured, oh my God, this is a huge thing that we need to jump into. So I guess what will happen with the phones is that in terms of innovation, they will move towards something that is, for me, it makes a lot of sense, that I don't need to think about the phone. It's something that I have with me, and it's taking care of my interactions. I think this is something very still unexplored ground. For instance, I don't want to go to a shop and have to take my phone out of my pocket to pay for something. I want that shop with my authorization to realize that I'm there, right? The shop knows who I am, how, my pattern of buying there, things I like, things I don't like, and just guide me through the process of enjoying that without me really taking my phone and checking what's happening. The store has a lot of information about me, and I'm granting authorization for them to deal with that. And not only that, people are coming up with all those devices that I need to connect with my phones. I hate this. I don't want to make my already big gadget even bigger by connecting things. I want that gadget to be, talking to other devices and giving me meaningful information about what I want to do and things that I usually do.
As you look out over the next few years, Márcio, what are the big concerns you have or areas of disruption you anticipate in the mobile space?
Yeah, there's one thing that I believe mobile devices will do that the PCs didn't, will give access to personal computing to everyone. When you think about personal computers, we believe that they would get so cheap that every single person on Earth would have access to it. But actually, didn't happen, right? The cheapest one didn't reach out to the whole population. But I believe with smartphones that will happen, and it's a much more easier to consume type of computing systems, because when you think about it, I get this notebook, and I give it to a child, maybe that child would leverage it, will learn how to use it. But when you think about, a smartphone with a bunch of apps that take care of many interactions that the person have with their environment, it's much easier to look at it as a personal computer system that I can simply use it to make my life more productive and more enjoyable. So I believe that will also bring a challenge of, how can you separate my personal life, my personal data from everything that is happening. So, maybe now with the phone, I can really have access to personal computing. I can have access to solutions that can improve my life, but also opens an opportunity for marketers and other maybe evil companies to leverage that information and know everything about me and track me. And that is a little bit scary. Yeah. But I think the opportunity to bring computing to everyone, it's much more exciting than worrying.
Well, we have a lot of exciting days ahead of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Márcio, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.